Hey everybody. So I think I'm gonna start doing some videos talking about the Kurt Cobain murder conspiracy. Um, I think it's pretty much common knowledge that he didn't commit suicide and that the narrative, the mainstream media narrative that's been going on for 30 years now is not accurate. Uh, there's a lot of evidence that proves otherwise and says otherwise. But I'll just start with the first thing that for me that changed, my opinion or really solidified things for me. I'm a musician. I was a musician. I'm not as active anymore, but in September of 2015, I made a record with a producer whose name I won't say, but I'll give you plenty of hints and you can figure it out. But he recorded one of Nirvana's two biggest records. Let's put it that way. And he's located in the Midwest, and he's still active to this day and has his own studio up there and all that. But so I did a record with him, and Soaked in Bleach had come out somewhat around that time period, and so it was a valid question to ask him, but we were mixing the record and it was just him and I in the room. And so I asked him point blank, I said, and I did say, hey, this is between you and I, and so I'm kind of going against my word here, and I sort of did shortly after he said it, but I didn't really expect him to give me as honest of an answer as he did. But so I asked him, I said, hey man, Soaked in Bleach came out. Did you see that? What do you think? What's your opinion as to what happened with Kurt? Because you were around towards the end of his life and were a part of that circle and kind of still is involved with them and all that and reissues of albums and stuff like that. So I asked him, I just said, what do you think happened? What's your opinion of what happened or whatever with his death? And he said to me, and I, hand on a Bible, I swear on my child, I didn't record it or anything like that. I sort of wish I would have, but, and this is nothing against him. He's a great guy, and I totally understand why he doesn't talk about this publicly or hasn't come forward with it, and I get it. But anyways, he said to me, he said, look, everyone that's close to Kurt, was close to Kurt, in his circle, his family, his friends, even his bandmates, everyone around Kurt believes he was murdered, knows he was murdered. It's common knowledge in that circle. That's what they all believe. That's what they all, that is what it is. And I was like, well, why don't they say that publicly then? I don't get it. I was like, what's the deal? And he goes, are you familiar with people having a public and private stance on issues? And there's a term for this, and I forget what it is. But he just said, look, man, it's really common with celebrities, especially in politics and anyone who's a public figure, to have one opinion to the public that is, not controversial or, goes with the narrative, and then privately to feel a completely different way, and that's what he said. He just said, yeah, of course, that's what they say publicly, because people just want to go on with their lives. People, want to make money. People don't want to have issues. They don't want to be involved in the drama. They feel like there's nothing they could really do to change anything about it. And, that's just the way it is. So, when you hear all these guys, Dave Grohl, Chris Novoselic, Pat Smith, all the people in his band and his family and managers and everybody saying, oh, he killed himself, which actually, I mean, even to Dave Grohl's credit, for example, he sort of is really careful with his choice of words. You don't really hear him very often say when Kurt killed himself or whatever. He usually says when Kurt passed away or when Kurt died or whatever. So I think he's kind of left it a little more open-ended. But I mean, Chris Novoselic obviously is goes with that narrative and everything, and yeah, so I understood it, but when he said it, it was just sort of, at the time it was a little bit shocking. It was just like, oh wow, he really was straight up and honest about it. And then so anyways, like I said, Soaked in Bleach, it came out around this time, so there was a lot of stuff in the media. And then I think this was when the time that Seattle had done their little fake reopening of the investigation or whatever, and so I had left a comment, like CNN had posted on, Facebook was bigger back then and stuff, like I said, it was like end of 2015, and CNN had posted, pictures of that detective, Szynski or whatever, holding the shotgun and blah, blah, blah. And I had posted comment on the CNN thing saying, hey, I just worked, and I actually said the guy's name, the producer engineer's name, and in my comment I said what I just told you guys, that he said that everybody believes that's close to Kurt that that he was murdered, and it's common knowledge behind the scenes and blah blah blah. And so then after I posted that comment, I mean, it blew up. I kind of didn't really expect it to, because it's just me saying what my word or whatever, and then I got contacted by people that work at his studio, and they emailed me and they said, hey man, I understand why you said that or why you put that out there, but we would really appreciate it if you took that comment down, because we just want to go about our business and continue making records and running the studio, and we really don't want to deal with Courtney and backlash or things from that. Because here's the thing, for someone like this guy to come out and say that, what's at stake for him is, okay, well, maybe he won't get asked to be a part of reissues or box sets or have anything to do, those are all things where he can make money, and he also doesn't want to deal with drama or lawsuits or anything. Not that Courtney would sue anyone, because we all know why, but it's just extra drama, and again, they don't feel like their word is going to change anything legally or have, because it's not like it's producing evidence. So I understood, and I ended up deleting the comment, but it just showed that, these people are afraid to come forward because, like I said, just what can they do? What difference is it going to make? But not that there aren't people that haven't, obviously. There's people like Sonic, Kim Gordon had made comments, and obviously Rosemary Carroll made comments privately to Tom Grant. But yeah, this is what happened. I'm 100% honest. So once I heard that, I totally believed him, and he had no reason to lie. He's known as being like a very straightforward and very honest guy, and he had nothing to gain from telling me that. So yeah, and like I said, I was surprised that he was so honest, but it was just him and I in the room, and at the time I did say, hey, between you and I. But to me it was just so important, because that was one of the only times I'd heard someone that was that close to the situation say something like that. So yeah, I plan to make some more videos. It's obviously lo-fi. I'm just doing it on my phone and get more into the case, because there have been some other guys that have talked about this, on here on YouTube, but they sort of have went left field, or they kind of some lost credibility here and there. And I'd like to keep the case alive because it really deserves better. You know, it really does. There's so many things that get overlooked, and you know, so many interesting aspects and things, you know, that people don't realize. And it's really sad what happened to the guy, you know. So yeah, Kurt Cobain was murdered. Um, you know, I've heard that from a very, very reliable source. And yeah, thanks.